Hey, it's Sparky, Fifer 1250 AM, The Fan, as we are live streaming this bad boy Green and Growing podcast. Follow me on Twitter at Sparky Radio. You can follow Nathan Marzion, our guy, Bucks super fan, and Nathan Marzion. Nathan, we had it all planned out, right? We said we were going to record at 5:15 today. We had it all coordinated with the Bucks and with Woj over at ESPN to break the big news that Bucks head coach Mike Budenholzer is no longer. And Mike Budenholzer out as Bucks head coach after having won a championship just a couple of years ago. On our last podcast on Tuesday, when we talked about this, we talked about the possibility of whether or not Bud would be out or not. You were very specific in not wanting Bud back after what we just saw in the playoffs. So I would assume you are kind of smiling from ear to ear going, all right, now we can move on with our lives.
Look, I'm not at all, I don't want to be disrespectful to you. You can't hear me?
I don't know what happened to Marzion, but he was talking just fine, and now we can no longer hear Nathan Marzion.
Can you hear me here?
Still cannot hear Nathan Marzion. Nope. Cannot hear what Nathan Marzion is saying. Nathan has got to work on his side of the things. I'll just tell you this about what is going on here with the Milwaukee Bucks and Mike Budenholzer.
Can you hear me now?
To fire a head coach a couple of years removed from winning a championship. I'm not going to say he's unheard of because I'm sure there is precedent set elsewhere in sports where people could tweet at Sparky Radio or at Nathan Marzion and tell us, oh, this guy got fired 2 years after he won a championship, just like Bud. It's not unprecedented. Okay, fine. Maybe you're right. Maybe this has happened before. It seems to me a lot quicker than I thought it would happen. If you would have told me after Bud won the championship, a couple seasons later, he'd be fired, I would have laughed and said, there is no chance. He's going to get at least 5 years, and he'll really have to screw it up in order to get fired. And here we sit. For those of you who want to catch us on live stream, you can do it on YouTube, on the Odyssey Sports channel. Of course, you can follow us here on Twitter. And Nathan Marzion, providing his Twitter Spaces, is working. Is your microphone working yet? Go ahead and try and talk, Nathan.
Can you hear me?
It's still not working. No.
Well, how can you not hear me?
We are on Nathan's Twitter Spaces, I believe. If he has that working, I don't know. He's having issues over there. He's looking at his microphone now, like, what is going on? But it was literally working prior to us starting the recording. He said he was going to put us in Twitter Spaces, and I think when he did that, maybe it cost his mic from working. Possibly, I'm not quite sure what's going on. I have no idea. No, you got nothing. I got absolutely
wait.
Nothing.
What about now?
No, still nothing. No, Marzion's continue to try. That's all right.
It's on your end.
Try disconnecting. It's not on my end. I don't think so. Hold on. Let me see. Go ahead. Try to talk now.
Can you hear me?
Yep. That was on my end. You're right. Good job, Marzion. That was me. That was all me. I pressed a button that I thought was taking off my echo chamber. It doesn't matter. Go ahead, Marzion. What do you got, buddy?
Okay. I was going to say, I'm like, I didn't change anything because my Twitter Spaces, I just put it on my phone. It doesn't connect to like my mic. It doesn't connect to my computer. I was so confused. Okay. So now that we got that out of the way, yes, I am happy that Bud is gone. I said I definitely want to move on from him. With that being said, I do not, I don't want to be disrespectful to what he did for us. I don't want to be, the man just lost his job. The man just went through a personal tragedy. I'm not going to sit up here and, celebrate another bad thing happening to him. For this team, it was time to move on. Absolutely. But we also do need to absolutely 100% be appreciative of Bud's time here. We had the best record in the league by far in his tenure here since 2018. Obviously won us a title. People will say that, no, that was just Giannis really that won the title and Bud didn't do anything. That is not true. If people tell you that, they are wrong. Bud did plenty during that title run. I'm not going to act like he put on some perfect coaching, a perfect coaching run during that stretch, but he did plenty to help us win, bringing us back from series deficits and, winning without Giannis in the Eastern Conference Finals. And then in the finals, they go down 2-0. He makes adjustments defensively and really helps us win a title. Like, he did his part. He deserves praise. He deserves to be, remembered in a good light forever for winning us a championship. With that being said, was it time to move on? Yes. They absolutely needed to get someone new in here. You have, I just said, I just tweeted out, I was like, it's a great message from an organizational standpoint to me of, we're not going to let this slide. We're not going to, risk this continuing. And like, we have prime Giannis. We have a good core if they all stay and everything. But either way, we're going to have a good team, and you have the best player in the world. You can't afford to just, oh, well, we lost in the first round. Coach Bud had a terrible series. That's okay. We're going to just run it back next year. No, you got to try to capitalize on every single year you have with prime Giannis, and a series like this season was unacceptable. You cannot let that happen. And so I just like that they're willing to change right away. They're willing to not wait around and, we'll give him another year. It's like, no, you can't afford to waste any prime years with Giannis. You just can't do it. If you're going to go out and you're not going to, if they lose with a new coach, okay, at least they gave it a chance with someone else. At least they tried something new. They didn't just keep doing the same thing. I'm just very glad that they were able to pull, they pulled the trigger this fast, and they didn't, again, wait around another year. There were plenty of people that said, I think maybe he could get one more year, and maybe, the organization gives him one more year to run it back and just, give him one last chance. And it's like, no, you can't be giving people second chances when you have, again, prime Giannis, you have this core, time is running out. You can't be doing that. You have to be making moves immediately when you need to.
That's the one thing. For me, I don't want to say Giannis got him fired.
His comments didn't help.
I mean, his post game really, at the end of the day, kind of got him fired, didn't it? I mean, if you think about everything he said after that game, and you and I talked about it, he got a bus and drove over him a couple of times. He never did that to Jason Kidd.
And I think, honestly, though, I'm glad Giannis did it, man. I am. And he's not that type of dude to usually do that. He's a nice guy, and he's gonna, usually give the correct answers and stuff. They clearly did not make enough adjustments. They clearly did not have, the coaching was not good in that series, clearly. And obviously, some of the players did not play their best down the stretch and all that. Yes, like that is, it's not that all the blame should go on Bud, but I'm glad that Giannis was able to be realistic about this and say, no, like it was not good enough. We did not make enough adjustments. I'm mad that he did not put me on Jimmy Butler, whatever. And, because if he just was, no, I thought we did fine and all this. And, I like Bud, so I want to keep him. Like, I'm just glad that Giannis recognized what went wrong. And, again, obviously he was okay with this move because they wouldn't make the move if they weren't, if Giannis wasn't okay with it. So, yeah, I even if he did, if his comments were kind of the tipping point, I'm more than okay with that. And I'm again glad that Giannis was able to kind of recognize that this was not acceptable. That we can't do this.
Eli J says Bucks had no choice if they want to sell tickets. Couldn't run it back with Bud. They were selling tickets either way. It doesn't matter if Bud was the coach or not.
This goes. I mean, that is true. They're going to sell tickets either way. But this does go back to what I was saying on the last episode, which was that if you bring back Bud, and this was again the reason I was like, I just don't want to bring him back, because if you bring him back, there is just over the whole season next year, there would be this doubt and there would be this negative feeling of just, we do not trust this guy come playoff time. No matter how good they do in the regular season, no matter what goes on, you're just not going to trust the team. And I don't want those vibes. I don't want that around the entire season of like, who cares how good we do? Who cares how good we look? It could easily, we think it's all going to fall apart as soon as the playoffs start and we just don't trust our coach. Like, I don't want that. And so I think immediately once that series kind of ended, that's the feeling I got, was if they bring him back and they run this back with everything the same, you're going to have no excitement, real confidence in the whole season, because you're going to be like, we know what happened last year. And yeah, it just, they had to definitely bring someone new in. I can't hear you.
Darn it. I was trying
now
to.
I can hear you now.
Do you think they could have won a championship if Bud wasn't the coach?
Yes. Like you're talking about the last 5 years?
Yes.
And that's the thing is, like I said, I don't think Bud did anything extraordinary to like, I think Bud's great at coming in. He gives you a winning culture. He's a great regular season guy, and he sets you up for success in the playoffs. Does he always get you success in the playoffs? No. But he came in and really did change the culture of like this went from a, pretty mediocre team, just kind of just getting over the hump to, okay, we are full steam ahead, best team in the league in the regular season. And like, we are, a legit contender. But in the playoffs for sure, like I'm not, again, I'm very grateful he got us that title. I think he did his part in winning us that title, but was it something that I think no other coach could do? Absolutely not. And I think, is there a scenario where we have another coach and we maybe win, a couple titles? Yes. Now I'm not gonna, oh, Bud sucks because only won one title. No, I'm never gonna do that. But like I said, I think he did his part. I think he did good enough that, again, we need to appreciate everything he did, but there is a reason why we're getting rid of him. And it's because I do think that, again, with a different coach, things could have gone differently and we could have been even better than we had been, the last couple of years.
Steve Sparky Fifer along with Nathan Marzion. You can follow Nathan Marzion on Twitter at Nathan Marzion. You can follow me at Sparky Radio. And the Bucks have fired head coach Mike Budenholzer. If you're just checking out the live stream now, you can follow it at the 1250 Twitter account. Follow it at Sparky Radio. You can also stream us on YouTube on the Odyssey Sports page. Don't forget, you can always download Green and Growing on your Odyssey app or wherever you download your favorite podcast at as well. When we look at this roster now, and we don't know what this roster is going to look like, right? We have no idea about Brook Lopez. We have no idea about Chris Middleton going forward. Do we know or do we think? Well, maybe we don't know anything. So do we think the next coach will either help or hurt the chances of those two guys possibly coming back, Nathan Marzion?
I don't know. I don't think those guys are going to, like, to me, I don't believe that either Brooke or Chris are like, oh, Bud's gone, I want to leave now. And again, if that was the case, and, because again, this stuff gets run by the players. They're not making these decisions without telling anyone. They're not just doing this on a whim. I'd have to imagine if the Bucks really wanted to keep around Brooke and they wanted to keep around Chris and they were not okay with Bud being fired, then like, no, they wouldn't have done it. Clearly, either they were okay with it or they were going to move on. They were okay with losing those guys anyways. Like if they're not okay with it, then they obviously didn't really care. Like they didn't really take that into account. To me, it could, again, I don't know who they're going to bring in. I don't know what the, scheme is going to be like or anything like that, but it could be very different. And it could be something where, okay, they bring in a new coach with a different scheme and, maybe this changes how much they value Brook Lopez, because again, he was so valuable in Bud's scheme. Do they bring in someone with a different scheme that they want to run more Giannis at the 5 and they, maybe it changes how much you're willing to pay Brook and maybe that results in him. I don't know. It could go several different ways. Maybe they want to, keep Brook as an integral part of the defense and integral part of the offense and all that. We don't know. Again, we have no idea. We don't know the conversations that go on. We don't know all this stuff, but it could lead to some different changes. It could, and we'll just have to wait and see. But again, I believe that whoever they want to bring back, whoever they don't care about bringing back, whatever, they knew what they were doing with this decision. This wasn't something that I don't think is going to affect a ton from that standpoint.
Let's go on to the next thing. We'll get into names. People are on YouTube messaging me about certain guys that may be out there. I'm seeing it on Twitter as well. We'll get into names of who might be out there that, Nathan may want, or I may want, or you may want. If you want to tweet at Sparky Radio, go ahead and do that. You can also message on the Odyssey Sports YouTube page. You can message at Nathan Marzion as well. We have a Twitter poll question that we plan on getting to today that blew up on Twitter that Nathan put out. And it's really depressing, really, the Twitter poll question. Nathan was trying to make us all cry during the podcast tonight. Instead, there's some joy for some of you because you're very excited that Mike Budenholzer is out. Having said that, I'm going to put you in the shoes of Wes Edens, not Jimmy Haslam. I would never put anybody in his shoes. But you in the shoes of Wesley Edens. What must you hear from this head coach to convince you that he's the right guy to come in and coach this Bucks team with Giannis at the head, are you looking to hear key things that's going to be like, okay, he's our guy, right? This is the guy that I want to lead Giannis. This is the guy that I want to lead Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton. And if Brook Lopez comes back, are you looking to hear certain things, whether it be about how he wants to run the offense, or how about how he wants to run the defense, or how he wants to use Giannis a certain way? What is it that you want to hear, Nate?
I mean, we talked about in the last one. I said ideally I want someone, that I'm confident in, immediately, obviously. Like we don't want someone who they're going to need time to really be, develop into a good coach. And they're, I want someone either with experience that we know can do a good job coaching and has done a good job coaching in the past. Or if it is like a first year guy, just someone that you're like, okay, I believe in them from the get-go. And it's not someone that really is going to need a ton of time. As far as, like you said, things you want to hear and things you want to see from them, like offensively, because to me, that's the big thing is offensively, I want to hear that they want to use Giannis as a screener more, and like Bud's offense was too much Giannis just bringing the ball up, 4 guys around him, Giannis go do something. I don't want that as much. And can that happen? Can you do that some? Absolutely, because Giannis is great and Giannis can, initiate offense. It's not like he should never do it, but it was far too reliant on that. And so ball movement, pick and rolls, keeping the ball in, having other players create for Giannis rather than Giannis always creating for himself. That's the kind of thing that we've needed down the stretch late in these games when we've collapsed, and we just haven't seen it enough. And I never understood why they don't do it a ton. They did it more in the 2021 season, and it resulted in them winning a title, and they still just, like the Chris Giannis pick and roll stuff, the Drew Giannis pick and roll stuff, they just haven't gone to it as much as you'd like them to do. It just feels like it always generates good looks. It feels like, again, when they move the ball, their offense is so much better, and for whatever reason, they just go away from it too much. So those are a couple things offensively I definitely would like to see. And obviously, I mean, the big thing with Bud is he's not willing to adjust a ton in game. We'd like to see that change. We want someone who isn't going to just make a game plan and stick to that game plan throughout and wait till the next game to change it. Like, we want someone who is, no, the game plan doesn't work. Guess what? You should change it. You shouldn't just be stubborn and kind of like trust that things are always going to change and things are going to fall a certain way, and the shooting will die down and we just have to trust the percentages. At a certain point, you got to be able to change something. You got to be willing to, again, on the fly, okay, we need to do this, we're going to do that. And I think having someone also, because again, from what Giannis has told us late in these games when people want him to guard Jimmy Butler, he's told not to. And he wants to, but he's kind of told not to. Someone that says, hey, what Giannis wants to do, I'm going to let him do. If he at all tells me he wants to guard Jimmy, I will let him do it. I will trust Giannis. I will, put the game in his hands. He's the best player. He's the best player in the world. We're going to trust him because, again, if Giannis fails you, okay, you live with that. He's the best player in the world. There's not a player you trust more than Giannis. So it's like, all right. I mean, that's kind of what I want to see as well.
Okay, so I'll tell you what I want to see. I agree with Marzion 100%. I'm sick and tired, I've been saying this, of him bringing up the ball and running, initiating the offense. Had my fill. I don't mind it once in a while, but there gets to be too much of that. So we can cut that out. I also don't need to see him shooting threes anymore. And I know everybody, oh my God, he should be allowed to shoot threes. I don't care how bad he is. He's Giannis. Let him shoot threes. To hell with that. I'm done. I've seen enough. I put me with the Jason Kidd category of I've seen enough. We don't need any more of that. Do you know what I'd like to see? Hold on, Marzion. Hey, do you know what I'd like to see? I'll tell you what I'd like to see. I'd like to see them drop the ball down to Giannis in the post and let Giannis work from the post. Let him turn around, face one dude up, and go. Let's drop the ball to the post like you would to Brook every once in a blue moon in Bud's offense. And let's see him get a post move or two a little bit closer to the rim, and let's see him work from down there. Let's see him do that. Let's see him continue to work on the mid-range game. You don't have to go out to the three-point line. You can hit a 15-footer. That's good enough. 18 feet, good. But we don't have to be jacking up threes necessarily. And you could tell Giannis himself had pretty much stopped shooting threes by the time the season was over as well. He wasn't shooting 5-6 threes a game or nothing crazy like that. To be honest with you, I don't know if he even really wants to shoot threes at this point in time. He's been trying and trying, working and working, and it just isn't going anywhere at this point. So let's just move on from that. And everybody calls him, oh, he's kind of like Shaq was in his time. Well, Shaq wasn't shooting threes, I'll tell you that much. So if y'all think he's Shaq, a young Shaq, then he can be done with the whole three-point thing. Free throws, that is what it is at this point. It's going to be up and down, and we kind of go from there. The most important thing, Giannis must be on board. That's it. I mean, that's all it is. Like, I may love you as a head guy. I might think you are just, the cat's meow. The cat's meow, right? That's you. And then Giannis talks to you. You leave. Hey, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Yeah, have a good day. He leaves. Giannis goes, no, I ain't playing for that dude. That's all over. Okay, go back to the drawing board we go. Let's find somebody else. I mean, it really is just like that, Nathan. If he doesn't sign off on it, I'm not hiring you. Like, it's that simple.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, that's how you got to treat the superstars in this league is like what you want, you will get. And you got to trust your guys. You got to trust if Giannis likes him, okay, then let's go forward. If Giannis doesn't, all right, that's not going to work. You're not going to have your best player play for a guy that he doesn't love playing for. Even if it's, he's all right. No, you're not going to live with that. That's not, no, it's not happening. As far as the Giannis 3 stuff, I was going to say, well, if he stops shooting threes, what am I going to do with my Giannis 3-point video every time he makes it? I can't retire that. No, look, I will always believe that it's okay for Giannis to shoot 1 to 2 threes in a game. That's not going to kill you. Look, as dumb as it sounds, it does keep the defense somewhat honest of like if he never shoots them, they don't have to and they don't guard him out there really to begin with. But if he doesn't shoot them, there's not even a thought of even going out there because it's like a Ben Simmons situation where he's not going to shoot it. It doesn't matter. He's got to at least shoot him sometimes. But obviously, yes, I do not want him jacking threes and just whatever. So yeah, I agree though. I mean, with like you said, Giannis needs to be on board, and we'd have to imagine that Giannis is fully on board with it. If with firing Bud, if they did that, and then with whoever they hire, we're gonna have to assume that Giannis is fully on board because if he's not, then every person in that organization should be fired if they're doing something that Giannis doesn't want to do. You're muted.
There, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Do I still have an echo?
Not really, no.
Good. What about John Horst? How much of a leash does John Horst get here if Mike Budenholzer is out?
I would say Horst's leash should be pretty short here because he hasn't been stellar the last couple of years with, again, these trade deadline acquisitions and stuff like that. I don't know though. That was kind of his fallback was like, okay, you got these guys and you could make the argument that Bud misused them. And so it can't really fall on Horst that way. But I don't know if you get a coach that is doing things better and, our in-game adjustments are better and just overall the coach is doing a better job and you still don't win. All right. Well, then you got to look at, are the players good enough? Are we making trades we need to make? Are we, and if this year, let's say hypothetically that they, don't trade any of these guys and the core 4 stays here, but Brooke has a disappointing season, Chris has a disappointing season, whatever, Drew, I don't know. That's on Horst for not, trading them when you needed to trade them. Like that becomes on him. And so absolutely at a certain point here, it becomes okay if you're still not winning and, you're holding on to guys too long or, if you're trading, who knows if they trade them too soon and maybe they panic trade and get someone in here who's not nearly as good as we would have been with this core 4. Okay. Again, that's all on Horst. It's not our job to know that stuff. So we can make our assumptions of like how good guys are going to be and who we think could benefit the team or who we think should stay and who we think should go. But like, that's not our job to know that stuff going into a season. So yeah, I mean, that's on Horst.
This is the other thing when we talk about John Horst going forward. They hired him, Lazary and Edens, because they couldn't agree on anybody else, right? That's why they essentially brought him in. So I'm assuming this is going to be his hire and Eden's hire. And maybe Jimmy Haslam gets involved here in order to make the next hire. Fans seem to think it's Nick Nurse. Do you agree?
Yeah, right away, everyone was on the Nick Nurse train from the get-go. And we talked briefly about it last podcast. I've talked about this with anyone who's asked. I'm not against it, but I'm definitely not as for it as a lot of other people seem to be. There are just question marks, signs of caution for me that I'm like not all in. Again, I'm not all saying, no, I want nothing to do with Nick Nurse. I think he'd be terrible. But we mentioned the defensive strategy that seems to be a little too reliant on just stopping the other team's best players, selling out to do that, which is like, yes, that would have helped us in the Heat series for sure, but you want a balance. You don't want to do that too much. You don't want to never do it. You kind of need a balance of that. Playing the starters a lot of minutes. I mean, Fred VanVleet played 37 minutes a game last year. Pascal Siakam played like 37 minutes a game. Like, that is not what the Bucks are used to. That is going to need some, we're going to need to adjust to that. That's something that, again, Giannis will have to be on board for is, hey, coach said if he comes here, he wants you to play 37 minutes a game. Are you able to do that, or you want to do that, or do you want to keep playing your 30 to 32 minutes a game in the regular season? What does Giannis think is the best for him? And same with the other starters. They're not used to playing insane amounts of minutes. Under Bud, they definitely were, and Kidd was a guy that rode the starters a ton. So again, it would kind of be like, Giannis, which did you like better? Did you like playing a ton in the regular season? Did you like having more rest? Did you, whatever. So that stuff you got to work out. And then just the fact that, besides that 2019 title, Nick Nurse won the title in 2019. And, again, everyone sits there and, Bud got carried by Giannis, and, that title wasn't really Bud's, it was his. I mean, I'm sure there are people saying the same thing about Nick Nurse and Kawhi, like, Kawhi just took over and Kawhi was so good, and, it wasn't all coaching and blah, blah, blah. Because they haven't necessarily overperformed since that time. The Raptors haven't been anything special, and I don't know. There are caution signs for me, but do I dislike Nick Nurse? No, it would be a change, and it would be something that, I'd still have my signs of a little concern, and I would not just be fully all in, oh my God, we're going to take over the world because we got Nick Nurse.
What about Charles Lee off of the same staff?
I don't know enough about him, honestly. I don't want to, and it's even with Nick Nurse. Like I said this last time, I said, I don't know a ton about the coaches. I just don't, and I don't want to be on here talking as if I do, and as if, because
I'll talk.
I really don't. Yeah, you can talk. I just don't know enough.
I'm not hiring somebody from Bud's staff. Good luck elsewhere. If I'm firing Bud, then I'm not hiring you. Like I'm sure Lee will be a great head coach, but I'm not taking somebody from the same staff with the same ideology and same thought concepts of what Bud had.
I mean, yes, but you'd have to. It would depend on. I mean, does he automatically have all of the same exact feelings and thoughts on everything that needs to be done? I don't know.
Some of it, at least.
Yeah, but can we argue that Bud did have some good things about him? It wasn't like everything was terrible. I mean, He had some good. Good moments and good stretches and all that. Like he has good coach qualities. He has bad coach qualities. And so I'm not someone that's like, I need the exact opposite of Mike Budenholzer all the time, but you need someone that's definitely different. And so I don't know. I'm not going to just say that's an automatic no, but would I lean no? Probably just because of that. Yes. But I'm not going to just rule him out because of that.
What about Jay Wright, the former Villanova coach?
No, I don't trust that he's not a guy I can trust that can come in and immediately just at the NBA level win a championship right away.
Because he's never done it?
Yeah. I mean, I've never seen him. He's never coached in the NBA, and it's just, he was a good college coach. That's a lot different than being a good NBA coach. That to me is a little too risky. And I don't know. I loved him at Villanova. Like, he's an awesome dude. He's a fantastic coach at Villanova, but like, again, that's a very different thing. So I don't know.
Calipari at Kentucky.
That's not happening. There's no way. He's not leaving Kentucky.
Calipari has wanted back in the NBA for a decade. Since that whole thing went sideways on the Nets with him, I think he's wanted to come back and prove he can win at this level. I think he'll be back here before he retires in the NBA somewhere. Maybe not Milwaukee, but I think somewhere. I'll tell you who I want. I want Sam Cassell. That's who I want. He's been an assistant coach forever. You and I talked about it last podcast. He's on Doc Rivers' staff with the Clippers. That's who I would like at this point.
To me, a lot better than like a Jay Wright. Because again, at least they've been in the NBA. They've been, they're on an NBA coaching staff for a long time. They have that experience. You're not just going from college coach for many years to, all right, you're in the NBA and we want to win a championship this year. Go do it. Like, no, I can't do that. So I'm definitely more down with Cassell.
What about Jeff Van Gundy?
Nah. What about you?
I would consider it. But again, Giannis has to sign off. If Giannis isn't down with it, then I'm not doing it. Because I'm sure either one of the Van Gundys can get on your nerves. So he'd have to sign off on Jeff if he wanted to deal with Jeff kind of going forward at this point.
I at least thought about that one, but I don't know. And again, I just don't feel like I'm in a position to really judge coaches. Like, I don't know enough about them. I just can't. It's hard for me to really be like, oh yeah, this guy's great. This guy sucks. I can't do it.
What about Mark Jackson? He won 50 games with the Golden State Warriors and got booted and hasn't even had another chance to be a head coach again. Former player, former point guard in the NBA.
I mean, you're giving these guys, I would miss these guys on the ESPN broadcast, so that's for sure. Mike Breen, Jeff Van Gundy, and Mark Jackson, that's a killer trio. But yeah, I mean, Mark Jackson has been someone that I've kind of been, to me, it's been interesting that he hasn't found a new job or had a new job in the NBA since. Because again, he wasn't unsuccessful or anything. The Warriors moved on from him, right before they really, really took off with Steve Kerr. And, again, it was just one of those things where like, okay, but to me, that is somewhat of a question or a concern is that like, okay, he was the guy that kind of got them to relevance again, but he wasn't the championship coach for them, and we're looking for that championship coach. So that's definitely a little bit concerning that like he's more of the setup guy and then someone else is the championship guy.
You only have one guy then. It's only Nick Nurse.
I mean,
if we're looking for a ring only, he's the only guy.
Well, we said Sam Cassell, right?
But he hasn't been a head coach of a championship before.
I know. I'm not saying that that's a requirement, is that you have to have been a head coach of a championship team, but I'm saying the fact that they went away for like Mark Jackson, the fact that a team went away from him to go win a championship isn't a good sign to me. That they got rid of him and immediately became a championship team, or really not to say that he didn't, again, get them to that level, but that their thought was we have to go to someone else to get us over the hump is not a good sign to me.
Yeah, I hear you. Josh on YouTube said, this has got to be Nick Nurse. Otherwise, I don't see any real candidates that are out there, says Josh on YouTube. If it's not Nick Nurse, I think Bucks fans are going to be in shock because pretty much everybody you see on social media all assumes it's Nick Nurse.
Yeah, I mean, but I also think there's something that, like you said, that's really the only coach that has done it before, and the coach that has was just coaching in the NBA that's now available and people know of. So he's going to be the guy people gravitate towards because they know who he is and because they've seen him coach before. So it's understandable that he's the guy everyone gravitates towards. And again, I'm not saying that that he isn't even the best option out there. Like, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying just because he's the best option out there doesn't mean I'm like in love with it, if that makes sense.
I got one for you from Forgive Jonah on YouTube. Becky Hammon.
Don't know enough.
And she's went to the WNBA and been very successful. She was on Popovich's staff for a long time. She interviewed for the Bucks job the last time when Budenholzer got it.
I was gonna say I know she was was interviewing for the job before, and I know she's been under Pop, which is a very good sign. So like that one, I wouldn't be mad at. That's a good thing that you're under Pop and that you've had that experience. So I wouldn't be mad at it. But again, I just don't know enough to really have a great opinion.
I hadn't thought about Becky Hammon, but it would make sense. And from a Bucks standpoint, that would make sense that Becky Hammon would be the hire here if they don't go with Nick Nurse. The other thing I wonder, if we go back to Jason Kidd, they were doing that Kidd deal while they had a head coach. Do you think they've already got a deal in place before they got rid of Bud?
No. This was because I don't know. If it was something that really had been rumored for a long time and really been like, seemed like it was in the works, yeah, I'd maybe have a feeling that there was. But I mean, as of a week and a half ago, we were, hey, we're going to go win a championship. And all of a sudden it's, oh my God, kind of just a shocking loss. And you're all of a sudden like, okay, we got to change something. I don't think this has been in the plans for a long time. I mean, if you asked the entire organization again 2 weeks ago, I feel like they're all like, oh, we're confident in Bud. So
another guy says Ty Lue, he wants to leave the Clippers. I don't know if he wants to leave the Clippers.
Ty Lue was definitely high on my list, but they're not getting rid of him or he's not leaving. So I saw a rumor of that, or I saw a report that he was not leaving. So I kind of gave up on that.
Eli says reports out there right now say the Bucks don't have a candidate and will be taking their time. You don't have a candidate? Nick Nurse isn't on a list?
No, they're saying that they don't have like a target guy, like I think that's what it's saying is like we're not, there's nobody specific that we're like, that's our guy that we're trying to go after right now. No, I think they're just saying, hey, we're going to take our time. We're going to bring in several people and we're going to make a decision, which is good. They have plenty of time. It's the start of the offseason. That's probably why they did this so early, is to give themselves time. And again, you got to make sure this is good with several people in the organization because, you do not just want to jump into a new head coach that you did not take your time, if you figuring out if he was the best guy.
A couple more. Kenny Atkinson. I like Kenny Atkinson. He did pretty good with the Nats considering what he had.
I'd be all right with it.
What about Mike D'Antoni?
I'd be less all right than Kenny Atkinson, but I wouldn't. Again, most of these guys, I'm like the guys with experience. It's like I can't complain too much because they have experience. But I'm not like totally all in. No.
Ryan says, are there front office guys around the league that might want to get back into coaching? It's a good question. Pat Riley, you want to leave the Heat? Come coach Giannis. Come coach the Bucks. Pat, maybe get Pat Riley back in. Hey, Phil Jackson's in Montana.
I was gonna say, what's Phil Jackson doing these days?
Yeah. Let's go get Phil Jackson out of retirement. Bring him back to coach the Milwaukee Bucks. This is what I do know. Anybody will want this job.
Yes.
To coach Giannis.
Yes.
Right?
Can we poach Spoelstra?
Not unless Riley retires and he wants to leave. Otherwise, no. I would love Spoelstra.
Oh, Spoelstra on the Bucks. I feel like we'd have 3 titles right now.
Yeah, I'd be fine with Spoelstra at this point. So
you'd be fine. You'd be fine with Spoelstra. What do you mean? I would throw a parade if we got Spoelstra. We're not, and obviously we're not getting Spoelstra. I'm just saying this as a joke, but yeah.
Yeah, Spoelstra would be great. What about Doc Rivers? Wants to come home. Wants to come back and coach the Bucks.
No. Look, Doc Rivers, you're a Marquette guy.
Yes.
I like that about you, but no, you are not a championship coach in 2023.
I got to say, if I had to put money somewhere right now, I would say Nick Nurse or Becky Hammond. Ooh, here's one. Jacob says, what about getting Brad Stevenson out of Boston's front office?
This was one that I forgot to bring up. Yeah, Brad Stevens.
Yeah.
That would be, I would like that. I would
like Brad Stevens.
Yes. Not that long ago, that dude was like, one of the best young coaches and everything. He didn't, but I wouldn't be opposed to it. I like Brad Stevens. I always have.
Now, Mark Jackson didn't finish. You had a problem. Brad Stevens didn't finish, and that's okay. What's the difference?
Nobody finished it for the Celtics?
That's true. That's because
maybe it wasn't Brad Stevens' fault.
Right, because Kerr finished. That's what makes it. I got you. All right, that makes sense. Brad Stevens. I'm okay with Brad Stevens. I think I'd be good with that. Gary and Leroy always gave me crap about liking Brad Stevens as much as I did, but I think I'd be okay with Brad Stevens.
I'm pretty sure.
Coach Steve Kerr. He's not going anywhere.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm going to look this up right now, but there was a poll that. One sec. You talk first because I want to find this. Hold on.
Joshua says, "What about Vin Baker?" I like Vin Baker. I'm not hiring somebody off this staff, guys. I'm not. Like, there's just no chance. If I'm getting rid of Bud, which they are, then the staff's going. Now, can Vin stay on staff in some role? Sure, fine. But I'm not hiring anybody on staff. Somebody mentioned Darvin Ham earlier. I wouldn't have hired Darvin Ham either. No. Ben says Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan want to coach?
Hold on. Okay, I found it. So in 2018, in April of 2018, so we are 5 years ago, there was a poll put out by Nate Silver, 30,000 votes on this poll that said, if you were starting an NBA team and wanted to maximize your chance of winning a championship over the next 5 seasons, who would you rather have? Brad Stevens or Giannis Antetokounmpo? 54 to 46, Giannis won. It was a debate. 30,000 votes. This was legit. 30,000 votes, and it was 50-50 basically between Giannis and Brad. That just shows you how like hyped up Brad Stevens was and the kind of trajectory that he was going at. And people also didn't believe in Giannis the same way that they believe in him now. But yeah.
No, absolutely not. All right, so we got our poll question, but we ran out of time here. So we'll get to our poll question. We can read the results to go over that on Tuesday's broadcast. Also, Jim Ozarski, the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, is going to join us tonight. Story broke, so he's got to do all this stuff on the Bud firing. So he'll join us next week, Tuesday or Thursday. We'll have Jim Ozarski on. And by that time, hopefully, I get the echo situation figured out on my end. Nathan had an issue with his mic for weeks. He fixed his, and now the last couple podcasts, all of a sudden, I've got echo on my side. We can't win.
Still have it today? Do you still have it today?
People on YouTube said I had it at the beginning. So
maybe
then I
you
was
got rid of it.
turning you off and letting me talk and then turning you back on. People said I still had it. So then I literally unplugged my whole device from the side of my laptop, and now I'm talking through the laptop. I hear echo in my headphones. You say you don't hear anything.
I never heard it even last time, but then when we listened to it the next day, I heard it. But I didn't hear it live.
I didn't hear it live either when we did it.
Yeah. So if it's happening, we do not know that it's happening, and don't get mad at us.
That's why I'm glad at least we're on here. Josh said Sam Cassell's name will pop up. That's who I want. I said it at the beginning of the podcast. I want Sam Cassell. Sam, I am. Bring him home. And by the way, your little poll question, you did discriminate against us old guys. You did not bring up that 2001 Bucks Eastern Conference Championship loss. You did discriminate against us.
Most of my following is my age, slightly older, slightly younger.
You don't know that. You've got
most
like
of it.
40,000 people. You don't know every age of every person.
I'm just
that
saying.
follows you.
I know what people interact with my tweets, and I know like it's a lot of a younger-ish audience. Because even if you're 30, you don't remember 2001. You're 9 years old.
Really?
Yeah. Even if, like, and 30 would be like, I think on the slightly older end of the spectrum of my followers. So that's why I'm like, I'm not going to put out a poll. And plus you get 4 options, and they had 4 losses under Bud. So I was like, it kind of matches up perfectly. Yeah. But
so I'm the geriatric that follows you. Wonderful.
I guess.
A quick question on the way out. Did you guys have, when you were in high school, because when I was in high school, this does not exist, these water wars that these kids are doing nowadays?
Oh, yeah. We called it paranoia.
Oak Creek has them?
Yeah.
And they have their own Twitter account and the whole deal?
Yeah. Yep,
it's insane, Nathan.
It was fun. You just, where you make a team, and then you got to go, if you squirt the other team, it's like, okay, they're out. And then first to get the other whole of their team out wins and advances. Yeah, it's a good time.
Yeah, but you got people in cars shooting water pistols.
Oh yeah, it gets very hectic and like dangerous at times, but yeah.
That is crazy. Huh. I learned that this year. I didn't know anything about that either. See, you young kids. All right, follow Nathan on Twitter at Nathan Marzion. Follow me at Sparky Radio. Download this beautiful podcast, Great and Growing. We record on Tuesdays and Thursdays. They post Wednesday and Friday mornings. Sometimes we stream live like this. You can always watch the different videos on the Odyssey Sports YouTube page as well. Download on your Odyssey app or wherever you download your favorite podcast at. Mike Budenholzer out as Milwaukee Bucks head coach. And we'll talk more about the poll question that Nathan had up today coming up on Tuesday's broadcast.
Can I say something?
Sure.
It is May 4th, 2023.
Don't be a dork.
I am going. No. This has nothing to do with Star Wars Day. I'm calling out. I'm calling my shot right now. May 4th, 2023. We're coming back to this in a year and a month and a half. Bucks are winning the 2024 NBA Finals. Sharpie it.
I'm not sharpieing anything. I don't know who's going to be on the damn team.
I don't care. Giannis and a new coach. Let's ride.
What if Middleton's gone?
I'm half joking, but I do think I said Giannis, or I said keep the core, a new coach, and you get one more role guy in here by trading Bobby Portis. Yes, I'm sorry to the Bobby Portis lovers. You get one more role guy in here that is a reliable playoff guy. We are 100% in business. I said that on Tuesday. Step 1 is complete. They got a new coach in here. You get a new coach. The core 4 is good, man. The core 4 is still good. Those guys did not show signs of decline this year or anything. Brook Lopez got better. Obviously, Giannis is great. Drew's offense is what it is in the playoffs, but his defense is great. And Chris was very good down the stretch and in the playoffs. So to me, keep those guys. You get a new coach because coaching was the main reason that we lost in the series. And you get one more role guy, as they did in 2021 to get PJ. That was the kind of difference maker. And boom, my prediction comes true. May 4th, 2023. I called it.
If Bobby Portis gets traded, it's Marzion's fault. Because clearly John Horst is listening to this podcast.
And then you can thank me when we win the title. And I'll say, hey, like, it's not my fault. It's because of me that we're going to win the title then. I should become the GM if that happens. If John Horst is listening to this and he hears me say Bobby Portis should be traded and trades Bobby Portis for, should I say who I want?
Sure.
Tyus Jones.
And what else?
We can get, I don't know, some scraps, but Tyus Jones is solid, man. Pure point guard. We need one. It works out.
Holiday.
Pure point guard. Drew Holiday's not a pure point guard.
Oh, you want somebody that doesn't score?
I mean, I want someone who can handle the ball and not turn. Drew is not a reliable ball handler and not a reliable offensive initiator point guard in the playoffs. No. So that's what Tyus Jones.
You don't like Bobby Portis. You don't like Drew Holiday.
I never said I don't like Drew Holiday. Don't say that I don't like Drew Holiday. I would take a bullet for that man.
No, you wouldn't. You just wanted Tyus Jones over him.
I didn't. No, I didn't want him over Drew. I want Tyus Jones at the point, and I want Drew at the shooting guard. Drew Holiday is not a point guard, man. He's not. When people realize that, then we will realize that, hey, we need a initiator in this offense. Drew's defense is great. Drew's a great player. He's not a pure point guard, and this offense has needed one.
I can't come up with a team that's won a championship
with two
starting point guards in the backcourt.
Hold on. Didn't we just say that we want Giannis to initiate offense less?
Yes. Yeah.
If that's the case, we want someone in here who can initiate offense consistently. Chris can do it sometimes, yes, but ball handling isn't the greatest. Drew can do it sometimes, but he can get a little hectic. He can turn the ball over some. In the playoffs, his shooting is terrible. In the playoffs, his decision-making isn't the best. We need a reliable offensive initiator point guard. We need it. Now, it could be anyone. I'm not saying I have to lock myself into Tyus Jones, but he is someone who kind of fits the trade value of Bobby, and he would fit way better than Bobby on this team. And again, people are going to yell at me for that. But like, I don't care. Bobby Portis, I love you, but you are not helping the Bucks win a championship right now. We need one more 16-game guy. We don't need 82-game guys. We need 16-game role players. Boom. Not Bobby Portis.
Boom. I want to check something here real quick. Twitter,
I'll still chant.
You have 46,900 followers. When people hear you slandering Bobby Portis, I project you will be under 40,000.
That number's going down.
Yeah, just going to start.
We just refreshed and it's down to 43. So
you're in trouble. You're in
but hey, trouble. If he's on the team, I will still chant Bobby at every game. I will do it. I'll be all fully on board. But to me, it's pretty clear that there's one guy on this team who has trade value that you also don't need that badly on this team to win a championship. Think about it.
Well, way to end it on a downer. It is Nathan.
No, this is good. This is good. We're moving progress. We're doing good things. We got rid of our coach. We're getting a new coach. This is step one of like a 3 to 4 step plan that gets us back to the finals. Let's go.
Nathan Marzion, Bucks GM. Follow him on Twitter, Nathan Marzion. Follow me at Sparky Radio. Green and Growing Podcast. Have a good one, everybody. And again, remember, if you are mad about the Bobby Portis stuff, don't tweet at me complaining. Just tweet at Marzion.
Come at me. I can handle it.
You don't have to yell at me. Have a good one, everyone.